about, I'm not even going to say community, more like a circus. So that everybody who was in show business, they agree not to do sex workers, unless it was kind of like, contextualized and humanized, right? Because that's what, we've been typecast always, what's it called? Like killers, murderers, drug addicts, hookers, that kind of thing. And I thought it's just like, oh shit, and who is this damn tranny? I go, who is this damn tranny? And I wasted 15 minutes because I was going through the fucking articles and shoot, I had to read all these fucking shit, and I'm a very slow reader. I was like, just tell me who the damn tranny is. And I was doing searches and then I found out it was Angelica, and I was just like, all this freaking time, it's like, I wish somebody said it was Angelica so I wouldn't have wasted 15 minutes. And anyway, I was about to have me some cookies and a cup of coffee. So I might be a little manic because I'm on my third cup of coffee. So that's my drug of choice today. I'm acting out. I'm acting out a little bit, because of the damn holidays and stuff, and whatnot. Every woman said that, oh, if I was gay, shit like that. And, of course, I say absolutely not. I never like to play that game, because I just don't. When I was little, there were some ladies who used to help us around the house. And, let's just say that they was very fresh. So, that turned me off, against women. And then my mother's a bitch. And then my older sister is a bitch. And my baby sister, she's very sweet, but she's very weak. So she got to do, whatever her mom tell her to do, so, which is all right. I'm 54. I'm about to be 55, God willing. So, I couldn't care less. So she is amazing. She's naturally feminine and very graceful and poised without, since I met her, that was like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I forgot. So, I don't know. So yeah, so keep in mind. So I was thinking, and then they mentioned some other tranny, and I'm off to looking for this other tranny, this one. Anyway, but let's listen to the Rock Newman show because I don't want him to. Well, from afar. I'm gonna play it from afar so I don't get a strike for using somebody's material.
Protests are futile. We saw them call the names, Ray said Cleveland. Is that where Tamir Rice was?
Yes, right there. Yeah.
We've seen so much of this. So somehow, although this was fantasy, replete with lazy thinking, what I'd like to see is a Rocky type film. Where black folks basically ain't dead, excuse my language, shit back. Where the
Django Unchained. Django Unchained. I got you. Since you bring him to Django, let me say this real quick. But Django,
Now, when he get loud, he get loud.
Let's give our perspectives. Let me make it clear.
Black people cannot escape.
Okay, since you brought Django, I'm glad you did. Sugar somebody. What was his name? Sugar Land was the man who was the murderer in this figure who had black men being eaten by dogs. Right, yeah. But he was not killed by the Django. He was killed by the German. That's the white boy making the narrative And then the brother who Django killed Sam Jackson. Not the, not,
He deserves to die.
well, I will let you too. But let me finish. I don't mean to provoke y'all, but I tend to do that. It's not on purpose. but this stuff makes a difference in our mind. It affects how we think of our children. And if the movie was made in a way that was affirming of black people, Django would have killed Caprio. And Samuel would have had a transformation, as opposed to just being fathers to be murdered by the Django. And when the Django killed Sugar's was it sister? Whatever it was? Yeah.
Oh, this is too long.
Slapstick.
I didn't think it was gonna be this long.
Remember she kissed in the dream.
Something happened.
I didn't.
I think
he was part of the story.
I forgot to
All
rewind.
of this is part of the story, and
I'm not a critical thinker watching this. I'm a black child watching the way the father who got hit by the car was being treated by his, how he treated his son, calling black women hoes, and how the relationship that they had, particularly from the sister's perspective, was apprehensive initially, and how there's a need to make black men docile in this society, and all these agendas that are not helpful to black people.
Right.
Why do this film?
See, I hear what you're saying. I think, though, that I saw it in Baltimore because I lived there, and the folks left. The biggest criticism I've heard of the film, why they got to die at the end. So the question I have is this: what if they had gotten on the airplane and escaped to Cuba? We would have said, "Oh, that's unrealistic." When did black folks escape the
Well,
that's what I read.
And there have been others.
Except for Asada Shakur, but a black couple. Exactly. And so I think that we don't like to see black pain on the screen.
But the black pain is in context. It happened at the end of 2.5 hours of trauma and drama. And then it ends like this. I wouldn't use the word, I saw the thing in the club and how the sister
But the black
has their
drama and trauma. That's what
That's right. The trauma and drama in the movies, if I made the film, there would have been a lesson. There would have been something in that film that carried away. I was transformative and eye-opening for black people.
I'm going to bring something specific at this point. It's been talked about. This is not an original idea. But you have a very dark-skinned brother and a very dark-skinned sister.
And beautiful, too.
Both beautiful. Who engage in a very humane kind of way. It was a slow developing love story. And I've scratched my bald head to try to find sometime in the past where you had two black, dark-skinned principals who at the end of the day created an understanding amongst themselves and loved each other. And you all say, what about that?
well, I think it was beautiful. The sister was fine. The brother was good looking. But again, I will go back to my original point. This, excuse my language, shit was fantasy. And we have to really deal with the fact that it's fantasy. I mean, it's beautiful to see two black people fall in love, two dark black people fall.
And whose fantasy? I mean, this is like, I've been really mad at everybody, the fact that, I mean, for many years, it really don't matter if it's gay or straight or bisexual, which is the same shit. And, it's been until this day only in a passive aggressive way. Never to say, hey, this is why I am in the process of disengaging about anything that it got to do with African American society, because I just don't want to be a witness to this decline. I mean, like, I mean, so rampant, and there's nothing. Apparently, there's nothing you can do. I mean, like, and I mean, if like I know it's none of my business, but I mean, if at least you put pressure on all your, your nonprofit industrial complex, the NWACP, that, I mean, National Action Network. I mean, you have like at least 10,000. And if you was to pressure the top ones, then to say, hey, this is a coalition, we got, 100,000 signatures, something like that. We want to be audience. We want a disclaimer before you play the movie. The person who wrote it is gay. The actors, I think it's more important the visions, whose vision it is. But definitely, I think that the actors should disclaim either whether they're transgender, transsexual, or transatlantic, or whatever that because they're gonna keep coming out with some more bullshit. Because that's just what they do. They didn't like us transsexuals, but they are very jealous about us, and they want to be us, and they say, how can we steal their thunder? That the faggots and the dykes, they couldn't tolerate it, that we was about to get some attention. I mean, not even positive attention, but it's just they just couldn't take it. I mean, they totally panicked. They say, it's like, what else? Come up with something. We can get married. We got everything. We got billions of dollars in disposable income because we don't have children. We're like, how are we going to continue getting those trillions of dollars in grants and donations from the people? I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, I used to volunteer at the Gay Center on 13th Street in Manhattan. I heard about the fucking checks that was coming, and all those motherfucking checks, they came out to the whole fucking alphabet soup. And transsexuals never got a damn penny from all that money. That's why I got blocked. That's why I got sabotaged, because I was suggesting to audit all these fucking nonprofits. I say they gotta be audited, and they gotta give us our money. What is coming to us. What is going to the gays, the lesbians, the whatever, the bicycles, all that fucking shit gotta be split out. And none of these fucking bitches, they say, oh, I second that. Oh yes, we should that. It was like, I mean, I don't even know what the fuck it is, tell you the truth. Besides, being straight up stupidity, But definitely, it gotta be a disclosure. And if you don't do it now, it's gonna be impossible to do it in the future. You gotta say, hey, I mean, look at the color purple. Look at when I watched the damn Color Purple, I didn't know it was about lesbians or whatever, I mean, I noticed something weird, when it came out. I mean, I think they were kiss in the mouth or whatever, but that was it. I mean, and then, it's over the years, it's like, oh yeah, this is the target is heterosexual black men, and then you see in all, the black movies and sitcoms, it's always the Jeffersons start noticing, the father is an asshole, the father is an idiot, the father is whatever, and the lady who helped him around the house, she was the shit. You see, you start to see all this stuff, and but not you. I mean, I see some voices, they're already protesting some man, and they get totally a lot of pushback when they want to reclaim their manhood. So I mean, let's finish.
All in love, so you're not looking at the skin color crap that so many of us have to deal with. I mean, they were both lovely, they were both smart.
What should you say? The skin color what?
Engaged in the past, where you had two created an understanding amongst themselves.
But they managed to overcome that. I think that that was a nice piece. And I think that there were lots of things about black men, black women, and relationships that was nice. But I think you have to put this in the backdrop, not only of fantasy, but also of white supremacy. And when we look at it in the context of white supremacy, what we're looking at is white people's vision of what black people are. So we all sit around using the N-word all the time. Well, some of us do, but many of us do not. Many of us have woke up enough to say we don't use that word. Not only that, but in terms of what was it, Uncle Earl, the pimp, with the half-naked wife. I loved Uncle Earl. I didn't. But you know, he was part of the story. And I mean, all of this was part of the story. And as you said, white boy wrote it. Sister made it.
Didn't write it. Just the idea.
To have the concept.
The nugget.
Had the sister have it come to life. And your point, it's entertainment. It was not edutainment, it was entertainment. And so basically that means that all of our hopes and dreams are pimped, if you will. Pimped for profit.
Uncle Earl was a pimp. You said you loved Uncle Earl.
So let me tell you why I loved Uncle Earl. Let me tell you why I love the character of Queen. So you have this girl. She was a lawyer. We talked about her wearing armor initially. But what we realized about this girl is that she came from a different place. We talked about class. She clearly was first generation. She was an attorney. She had separated herself from her family to a certain extent. But when she went back to Uncle Earl, who was in many ways...
Wait a minute. What was Mr. Slim? That was not mentioned. Is he an engineer, an architect, a professor, a medical doctor? What is Slim? You see, this is why I feel like so bad, and a lot of people start feeling so bad about African American men. Because you guys are so naive, or either you're too embarrassed that you don't even want to bring it up, or like, I don't know, but you don't see that your own women are selling you out? Queen is a lawyer. And like I say, you know, I didn't watch the whole thing. I skip it because, you know, I really don't have a lot of time. Sometimes, you know, I shouldn't even be watching this. I live stream earlier today, and I say I was going to come back to live stream some of them, my favorite workshops of the year in Mexico. I'm in Mexico, and here I am because, you know, I was having my damn cookies, my munchies, and with a cup of coffee, and now I'm like, you know, like they say nowadays, you know, I'm triggered with this fucking bullshit in so many ways, you know. I always just hate it. I just hate it when you know. I mean, I haven't really watched television in Mexico, you know. I just refuse to. I was like, but I don't think that's the case. I don't know. I'm gonna try to ask around, try to do a research, you know, to see if they always put in Mexico women that are professional careers and men who are, you know, not.
The plight of her pain and asking for help. And Uncle Earl was willing. Uncle Earl was willing, and Uncle Earl also had the resources. And as a person who is from South Dallas, Texas, I keep saying that, y'all look it up, need to know where that is.
I know where South Dallas is.
For me, it was an important character because people see me now and assume one thing, but I have an Uncle Earl. I know some hoes.
Well, I'm
and the reality is, when I go back to South Dallas, the people who I interact with now, my peers, people who are lateral to me now, for me, are not my resources. On my social media, the people who I educate, the audience that I reach, the people I'm able to inform are those people back home who want to.
What is she saying? That all the men in her, where she's from, you know, they are not professionals. They are pimps, or they are like. I mean, I'm telling you. I mean, like, if us as fucking trannies, we said we're not gonna be taking roles that, you know, they just put us as the damn hooker in the background, that they just put us as, you know, as something. How come your women cannot say, you know, oh no, I'm not gonna take a role unless my husband, my partner, he's also a professional. You know, why I have to be the lawyer? And I mean, I don't know. I haven't really read it, you know, but just the fact that they don't say, oh, Slim, you know, an architect, whatever. And I mean, come on. We all saw the poster in the subway station. You know, he looked like working a body shop or something, you know, and it's just so pervasive. I mean, I'm keeping tabs in my head. I don't write it down on a piece of paper, but if I was to write in a piece of paper, you can see it's easily like 95% of the women are more educated than the men on television. Again, you know, when it comes to black shows.
Connect to a different component of society but don't have access. And so I saw her as a liaison to a certain extent, and to show where she came from and why she probably had that barrier up was very important. There was, you know, say that there was no lesson there, but I think, like you said, the surface thinking is a thing that's like keeping people from actually acknowledging the reality of how powerful
Jay,
that
what's
show was.
your response to that, Jay?
I like Uncle Earl because Uncle Earl was on code and he was willing to help his niece. I like Uncle Earl because I can empathize with like his experience also, being traumatized as a veteran. I'm not a veteran, but I could see that, and I can. He touched my heart, and I really like the way that he showed up for her, and the way that he was humanized. There's just so many things happening within the film, though.
Okay, so we're staying on Uncle Earl, and so no, but here's what I want to ask the table. So one of Uncle Earl's hoes,
Right.
the one in the pink with the big throat, the
Right.
tall one, I had no clue was
A transgender person.
was a transgender person until a week after I first saw it, and I went back and looked. There doesn't seem to have been a lot of conversation about that.
I think to say.
A transgender person in the film.
No, it was one of his.
I have things to say about that. I have things to say about the transgender person in the film. I did not know there was a transgender person also until like a week after the film was made.
Yeah.
And to me, the most poignant dialogue came from that character, right? Which was, you know, in here we make him feel like a king because out in the world he isn't anything. Now, when I found out there was a transgender person who said that, I felt slighted personally as a black woman because I know that there's so many of us sisters.
I don't know what she said. Hold on.
And love on
The tall one, I had no clue was.
I just wanted
person.
to hear what she
transgender
said.
person until a week after I first saw it, and I went back and looked. There doesn't seem to have been a lot of conversation about that.
I have things to say.
A transgender person in the film.
No, it was one of his.
I have things to say about that. I have things to say about the transgender person in the film. I did not know there was a transgender person also until like a week after the film was made. And to me, the most poignant dialogue came from that character, right? Which was, you know, in here we make him feel like a king because out in the world he isn't anything. Now, when I found out there was a transgender person who said that, I felt slighted personally as a black woman because I know that there's know that there's so many of us sisters who do stand up and love on dialogue came from that character, right? Which was, you know, in here we make him feel like a king because out in the world he isn't anything. Now, when I found out,
Because out in the world, what, he isn't anything. I mean, like that's what I thought. Yeah, I mean, I saw this part and I didn't understand what exactly what she said, but you know, and then after what she said, then I understood that it was something, you know, flattering to African American men, you know, and I mean, I think that's kind of like accurate because I seen that, you know, like other transsexuals that I know, you know, their men are like, you know, like black society would not even have anything to do with this black men. You know, I'm talking about you know, African American transsexuals and African American non-trans men, regular men. So that is true, and and I have conversations about that, and just like you know, a lot of women, a lot of black women, they hate that. They hate that even when they don't. They wouldn't even look at these men, you know. But the fact that these women of trans experience actually, you know, put up with them and pick them up, and you know, a lot of times, you know, I see that when they get older, and it's a fucking mess. It's a fucking mess because their body's falling apart and shit, and these bitches, they stick around and just like. So I noticed that, you know, I noticed all these women are a bunch of phonies. I've never seen no fucking women talk like this. I saw this before about the gays. You know, before the rise of the gays, it was like these bitches is like, you know, it was very, very like shady and whatever. And as soon as these women found out who signed their paycheck and who is in charge in Hollywood and shit, all these bitches that were like, ah, my best buddy, oh, my best friend, ha ha ha, you know, just like, you know, I mean, funny as hell. And that shit goes the same thing with the fucking trannies. They kiss gay asses, like, I hope not literally. Ew. But it is something that always disgusted me. And like, I mean, I've never seen women, and like, you're gonna hear like, you know, and you're gonna hear like, this is kind of like why I'm doing it too, because, you know, I heard the next part and it was like, oh yes, that's something that is really wrong with black society. We don't even talk about, you know, the fact that there are different genders. It's like, no, bitch, there's no different genders, you know, like that. You know, they're trying to make it look like there's a million genders without any fucking research. You know, which that is enraging me because, you know, black humanity has still been denied today. The same way it is in my country, you know, with the indigenous people also in my country. I mean, like, literally, they get treated a lot worse than, you know, illegals in any country. So that is something that I say, like, okay, so you're getting carried away. You know, when you do the what's it called, the comparisons. So I mean, I noticed that, you know, oh yeah, that was the most important dialogue. Like, I feel like signaling other women, like, this is like, which it is. I mean, like, but then, you don't do it. You don't do it. And it really hurt when other women outside your race appreciate what you got. I mean, which is not the case. I want to believe that's not the case for in Mexican society. As to like, I know. I mean, I know for a fact when every Mexican man who tried to date outside, not the race, because we're not a race, outside nationality, they end up being abused, by all these women, like especially Dominican women. I mean, they fall for Dominican women, and they're like, they hate us because they are very jealous, because we're a big country and we are starting to come out of the hole, and they're falling deeper into the hole, as they should, for what they did to Haiti. So I don't feel sorry, but let's continue listening.
There was a transgender person who said that, I felt slighted personally as a Black woman, because I know that there's so many of us sisters who do stand up and love on Black men in that particular way, but then in art and media and in life get criticized for upholding our Black men within our heterosexual.
Yeah, but who criticize? Your feminazi girlfriends? I mean, do you owe them anything for real? I mean, is feminism more important than your man? I mean, listen to yourselves. Listen to yourself. You get criticized. Who criticized you? Becky? Oh, shoot. I just pressed the wrong key. I mean, like, you want me to feel sorry for you when you're trying to advance your career and you're trying to advance everything, and you sell your man out, and now you say that, oh, that's what prevents you from loving your own man? I mean, anybody feel free to leave comment afterwards.
I know that there's so many of us sisters who do stand up and love on Black men in that particular way, but then in art and media and in life get criticized for upholding our Black men within our heterosexual.
She first said in an immediate, and then she changed it, in our life. I don't know, maybe that's even your mother. I know like my grandma, she always like was telling my mother, about my father, that, that my father was the worst, my father was this, my father was like whatever, and he ended up being the worst. But I mean, I don't know how he was, when I was just born. I say burn, knock on wood. When I was born, I don't know how my father was, obviously, because I don't remember. But it is like, you feel like you have nothing to do in your own man demise. I don't know. There might be studies about that.
Relationships. I thought that was really, really interesting. But I mean, I love that dialogue. I love the conversation about it. But then actually knowing that it was a trans person, the second time I saw the film, it definitely had me interact with that character differently.
But I want to add to it. I mean, even today, if I'm like around, like in the program, and like if I say something positive about like the other clients and stuff, the African American woman like, oh, that piece of shit, oh, like whatever, and even the transsexuals, the Black transsexuals, about Black men. I have heard that also disparaging. I mean, it might be that, as a self-defense, but I don't think that's something that anybody should do. I don't think that there's something about anybody should do, because I mean, like, if you tell me something about a Mexican man, I'm not gonna go say like, oh, you know, just like, I mean, because it is like, I think we all have problems just like everybody else. But I mean, thinking back, you know, if I make something comment about, you know, some African American man, I've had black women say like, oh, that piece of shit, like whatever. You know, of course, not with so many words. I mean, like, I don't, you know, I can remember the words, but it was not like, you know, just even just keep quiet. Don't throw dirt at yourselves.
No,
I'll get to you. Like the brother said here, that they were trans was not really relevant.
Yeah.
It was another woman, if you will, in the house.
Look at this. I never heard anything like this. You know, this is how powerful the money is. Come on. You know, I was for 10 years, I was trying to, you know, just do something for ourselves, you know, so, you know, take out of our community, out of sex work, out of the degradation, the damn faggots are keeping us in, you know, because there's nothing that we can do, because the moment that we starting to advance, there's always the faggots are going to come and like tell you, oh, you know, that bitch, you know, like, you know, she's this, she's still, you know, she killed somebody, you know, she was in jail or whatever, you know, some shit like that, always, you know, so nobody can come around us. And then we have non-transsexual women too, like, obviously, you know, they're going to be like, but that's a preservation instinct. So I don't blame it, but at the same time, you know, at one point, you're going to be like playing the victim, that you cannot come out to us and say, you know, I don't want anybody in my race to date transsexual women. I mean, as grown as women that you claim to be and whatnot, I mean, you should come out like that. No, just come out and say and talk shit about your own man, or make up shit about us. You know, that's very, very childish in almost 2020, and you're still gonna be hiding about like, oh, we're just very scared of you, and we're scared of everybody, because just like 3 years ago, they was not scared about that. I mean, there's tons of videos talking shit, really how they felt, and now because they want, you know, they wanna continue working, I guess, for white people. So now they know, like, it's the same as feminism. You know, any man who said that he's not down with feminism, he's gonna get whitelisted and never gonna work again. This is why we have Dr. Tommy Curry living in Europe. You know, that's because your own women prevented him from getting any jobs. And that's really fucked up. You know, that we as women, we're still, you know, passive aggressive, and we go and just making people life miserable, instead of saying, you know, like, you know, I mean, you can be respected. No, that's what you're saying about this orange piece of shit in the White House, right? You're saying, oh, I respect him because he speaks the truth. So we will respect you if you speak the truth. If you say, like, I don't want nobody in my race to be with no transsexual, you know, whatever. You know, it's just like, okay, so now you said it, you know. And then it's also about your man. If he's man enough, then he's gonna have to take a decision for himself. And there were several moments that I didn't watch the whole thing again, because, you know, I fast forwarded a lot. But I see that. But let's wait. A man is gonna make a comment, and everybody's gonna go and chastise him like if it's a little child, you know. Oh, again, not again. I don't know how to use this shit. I really hate this.
What bothers me goes back to my concern around black children and young people and people without a critical analysis.
I mean, I love that dialogue. I love the conversation.
I mean, it absolutely matter if it's transsexual or non-transsexual. It absolutely matter. You know, nobody should make that decision for nobody. I don't believe we should be around we should be going around with a scarlet letter. But I do believe, like, that was one of the problems I also had, and that's one of the problems what I got kicked out from organizing, because they say it's like, oh no, we're never gonna disclose. And I'm like, I'm not part of that. Oh, now the volume is out.
In the house.
No, get pills.
Like the brother said here, that they were trans was not really relevant.
Yeah.
It was another woman, if you will, in the house.
Who is this man? I mean, like, are you serious? It really don't matter? Come on. I do. I mean, like, I'm a transsexual woman myself, and I don't want to be making out with some fucking dyke with a mustache, because, I mean, with very few exceptions, trans men are cowards. Trans men are cowards. I have been insulted. I have been humiliated by these fucking dykes with a mustache and beard and sometimes even muscles, but they are cowards. They're fucking cowards in our community. They never come out. They never show up for us. They always hanging around dykes. They don't say like, oh, there's like, part of my community, another transsexual. Never. I never seen it. I never seen it. They are like fucking girls, always gossiping with the fucking dykes and with other women. They go to the ladies' room with all these women and whatever. And you will never know. And you will never know that's a trans man. And yes, I'm burning a lot of bridges, and I don't give a fuck, because I'm not selling nothing. I don't owe nothing to nobody. I just lost my channel. So if you want to take another channel, you want to take my Facebook, go right ahead. Take everything you want, but you're never going to keep me from saying the truth. Everybody who's watching this, please download it and save it for later whenever you wanna play it, because they are shutting me down all the time. These fucking faggots and these fucking dykes, whatever the fuck they're calling transgender, trans man, or whatever the fuck is, like, I don't care. They're cowards. If there was actually what they say they would be in solidarity with us. But they have no idea what fucking manhood is about. They just think that just being flamboyant and being like this clown right here, like this fucking clown. That, yeah, I'm gonna play you a little bit more about that tape. I got the one I played you last night. Yeah. This fucking dyke is milking it all for all it's worth. As long as you keep getting shocked and you keep talking about them, they're getting paid. That's what I've been telling you. The more you talk about them, the more they're gonna sell. In 10, 20 years, gonna like, take a testosterone shot and gonna say, oh, I'm a trans man and whatever, blah, blah, blah. But it's not like that. It's not like that. I mean, this is another thing that it's kind of like a sign of the time. Calling transsexuals men really say a lot about you and how you feel about men, especially your own men in your own race. And that's always been my argument. Are you really that you hate men that much? That, yeah, I thought this was a tranny. And it's not. This is why they didn't know who the tranny was. And that's also, that's women. She shouldn't say, I'm not going to look like that. Are you fucking kidding me? Next to a fucking tranny? You want me to look like this tranny? I'll be like, hell no. But these bitches, they got no self-esteem. I'm sorry for it's French. Yeah, I speak French. I mean, how are you going to do this to yourself? Because they promise you an Oscar, right? Yeah, because, Harriet Tubman movie. I mean, it's been a lot of pushback, thank God. But now this is gonna be like, this is your fucking reward. Who are the women they're pushing? A fucking whore, Cardi B, and this. And I think it's British too. They're all fucking British. So they're laughing at you, and you're thinking, oh, the Spics are our worst enemy, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's just like, I don't want any division or anything, but it is what it is. We are in circles. We're always in circles. You can have all the conversations you want to have, and it always boils down to Garveyism. To have your own everything. If you don't have your own everything, then, I mean, I'm terrified for you. I'm just terrified for you. Like, this is crazy. And look at the pictures they pick. She's the strong one. She and him is like, defeated. And this is some of the lines that I highlighted. They have some, I think she said it right now. Oh, look at this. Beyond that, Slim literally cites the very real escape of Assata Shakur to Cuba when Assata's life was in danger by the state. I mean, this is not even subtle. I was having this conversation the other day with some gentleman who work on 125th Street. And I told him, I don't know about Sata Shakur because she actually never even mentioned her husband. And she's an icon for the gays and the feminists. And he was shocked. He said, no, my Asata. I was like, well, I don't know. And here, he won't tell you about Huey Newton. He won't tell you. He tell you all about Assata Shakur. Because he's soft and moist. I mean, these cowards, they look, they're blackmail Judas. Is that played by Bertrand E. Boyd II. Also as the main character. Look, this is what you see. Police riddle Queen and Slim's bodies with gunfire, and they bleed out on the pavement. Because you don't see that enough in real life. I mean, you are powerless. You don't have no power. You scare me so much. I mean, you have no say. I used to think that trannies was like, because they make us say these lines that clenching and stuff, but you are at the bottom of the bottom. For 1 week, they are symbols of black triumph over white oppression. 1 week. And how is that? How is it that for 1 week, do they, I don't know, do they have millions of dollars at least? Because I mean, like, how are you going to triumph without speaking their language? They only speak the language of money and power and land. Is that when they buy their house? They buy property? I mean, I didn't see the movie. I don't really feel like seeing the movie, Look, and look what they're worried about. So I stomach some of the more annoying, misogynistic, and fat-phobic moments meant for comic relief because this is who say this shit. Oh, the dyke. So she's not sorry about them being gunned down and just being left in the pavement. A la Mike Brown, a la, I mean, I mean, I even forget your names. I mean, I feel like so, that's another thing that I noticed in the whole show. Nobody knew the actors' names. It's just like we are oversaturated and we don't even, you know, where is it that, where was the scene where they left him out in the pavement? Yeah. Police riddle their bodies with gunfire and they bled out on the pavement. That dyke didn't clench, didn't nothing. What she clenched about was fat phobic and what some fucking bullshit she said. I don't know. I cannot find it. Oh, here. Misogynistic and fat phobic. Oh, this is the other tranny. Matsuka's Dicky. I mean, I'm just like, this is disgusting. That I'm not going to talk about Angelica because I'm really hoping that one day she wake up and but if she wake up, I mean, even if she wake up, she will never get another job. She's already been killed twice. In the 2 projects she participated, both she got killed right away. And that's it. The most feminine women because they have a TV series that somebody showed me some episode. I don't want to waste my time commenting on that television show. The visionary Matsukas at the helm in her feature debut and soundtrack that epitomizes blackness. I feel comfortable and safe enough to hope against hope. Okay, so let's see the Matsuka. See if it epitomizes blackness. No, that ain't it. Oh, don't tell me No, I had oh, this is a Matsukas. This epitomizes blackness. You know, this was from 2010, I think. 2010, yeah. November 29, 2010. Almost 10 years ago.
And trying to do better each time. And, you know, I feel like my biggest competitor is myself and trying to outdo myself each time. And probably I hate most of the stuff I do. Seriously? I'm my worst critic. But I think, you know, it makes me better too.
Yeah. And how is it being a woman in a predominantly male-dominated arena, really?
It works both ways. I think sometimes it's a challenge, you know, and people, you know, like to challenge you and don't think, you know.
And that's how you know that she's a mulata or something, you know, because how does it feel being a woman in a man-dominated, you know, they will never say that to a black transsexual woman
what you're
at all.
talking about until you put them in their place.
Yeah, sounds right.
No. But, you know, yeah. And then sometimes it's great. You can work your...
Well, say the truth in a white-dominated world. And then she's gonna spill the bean.
Oh yeah, and then sometimes it's great. You can work your little, you know, womanly attributes, and it works too. So, you know, it has its pluses and its minuses, but it's been good for me.
Do you feel like you've had to prove yourself more?
Definitely. I think, you know, as a woman and as a woman of color, like I've definitely had to prove myself, and you know, but that's what.
And as a woman of color, I don't know where it is at, but somewhere, I guess.
I educated myself and I went to NYU and I got my graduate degree. And also as a director, I felt like it was
Educated myself at NYU. I have no idea how much that shit cost, but I can only imagine.
important for me to know my options and to be able to communicate with the crew and everybody I work with in a place of knowledge and not but at the same time I'm not scared to ask questions and it's a learning process every time I learn something new.
Are you at the stage now when you feel you can kind of like pick and choose what you want to do music wise?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've always been pretty picky, but yeah, especially now, I'd probably pass on the majority of stuff. Like, I mean, there's a lot of great music, but there's also a lot of bad music. And there's, I have to be moved by the music or the artist or the visual, something involved. And
No, that's enough. Yeah, it's the same thing, these tokens are like so entitled but let's go back to the show.
What bothers me, going back to my concern around black children and young people and people without a critical analysis watching this, is that Uncle Earl was later contextualized as someone with PTSD. But he was abusive, he was hitting these women, and he was supposedly better. Now he's a king at home, but it reminds me of the show Power. And Power, you have power because you're a good drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? That's what that show's about. It's about drug dealers. And it's about a man who won't even touch his wife, though he's supposed to have one that's black, and it's all messed up and crazy. And I don't like the black children are probably sitting in front of that show as well. But the bottom line is that these messages, without a full educational, extremely obvious educational framework, are just dangerous and negative to black self.
And there is a question that I think is a fair question is, can a movie ever do that?
Yeah.
Can a movie ever do
No,
that?
I think that critique is going to be
entertainment is
But it's not
exactly
the-
that.
but it's not the
Entertainment,
movie's-
guys, entertainment
It's not the
is
movie's
simply
responsibility.
entertainment.
It's black
Yes.
parents'
Yes.
responsibility
Yes.
to tell their children, look, you live in a society, you're good, you're one of human beings, don't let this white supremacy get to you, but be able to decode and know be able to decode white supremacy, know when you see it. They're the problem, not you. See, if black children had that message as a young child, you're not the one with the issue, and don't do the N-word either. It's them with the issue, then we would be much better off as a people. But it's the lazy thing that you said earlier that I think is important to say, because it's so true. People don't walk into the movie with all this analysis. They walk in there eating popcorn and get emotionally involved in the story.
We cannot see the responsibility to educate our children or educate our people by talking about.
We all go to the movies to see ourselves. Come on. We don't want to go see the movie and see somebody else. I mean, who is that generous? Who's like that saint that, I want to go see well, I guess the crackers, right? The crackers are always, they go to see their pet project or something.
About what a movie means. And this is an interesting intellectual conversation, but at the end of the day, somebody who thoughtlessly goes into this movie because they think it's entertainment and then has a series of messages to take away, here's what we're doing. We're slicing pieces of it. Like the conversation, I'm a little puzzled. I want to hear from you about the notion that you were disturbed about the trans woman saying, we got to love him. Because that's where many black men are. And that's why many black women accept abuse. Because we believe that in the greater society, everybody is down on black men, so we have to lift it up. And I may be, this is a little shorthand, but I've had friends who have been beaten. And they won't call the police because they're like, the police are down on black men anyway. So why would I throw the brother to the
Jay respond to that, Julia.
Well, I'm trying to.
Wow. Lucy, the generalization, I have women. How many? I mean, you're talking about something. I mean, is that an empirical research? I mean, how big was your sample? I mean, I don't know, 10,000 women and 10,000 men. I mean, something to make these gross generalizations, And then when you look at the statistics, I've seen statistics that they've been, put some makeup, whatever, they've been like Photoshop, these statistics. So I feel like it's just like there's zero responsibility. Like we don't live in a world where like your men are getting targeted. I mean, like, but they don't see it. They don't see it because your women, they see that they always see themselves like the only ones struggling, the only ones suffering, the only ones like, you know, and it's sad because there's no room for anybody else that way, you know. I think everybody had to make some room for with the same intensity for everybody within that race to come out and say without feeling like, yeah, but my suffering is not as big as our women's suffering, so I better shut up. And that's the attitude that's been going on since, I mean, I got here to the United States in 1989. And since I can remember, it's just like, I can remember only black women suffer. That's always been. It's only now, I mean, I discovered Dr. Tommy Curry. You know, I mean, I've seen like, you know, I know the story about the Central Park Five and stuff that I started to come around, as to say, but I was one of them. You know, I suffer, and I suffer because I'm a tranny, and that's it.
Everybody is down on black men, so we have to lift it up. And I may be, you know, this is a little shorthand, but I've had friends who have been beaten, and they won't call the police because they're like, the police are down on black men anyway. So why would I throw the brother to the
But then it's just like, it's the lack of family. I mean, she should be like, she had brothers. I'm sure she got uncles. She got men in her family, I suppose. But they're not even you know, in like, I mean, like, because they are Mexican, and it's like, that is like, it's not about the police. I mean, unless it like, if you run away and you live someplace else and you don't get along with your family, then you're fucked, you know. So that make you more vulnerable. But then that's, again, we're talking about part of you know, European domination, destruction, you know, separation, all that stuff that, you know, over here you don't even hear about it. You just see like, you know, oh, she got no choices other than the police. And this is a dangerous narrative.
To that, Julia.
Well, I'm trying to. I was still listening, trying to see what you're puzzled by specifically with that comment. I think that I want to see more heterosexual black women empowering black men on screen and in real life the way that person did. I mean, I'm not
trans women are heterosexual from their perspective.
But not from my perspective.
Well, it depends on the person.
Yeah, but it's not from my
There's
African perspective. They aren't. So that's probably what it is, and I'm clear. Like, I have my own conscious bias. You know, I am a human being. I make judgments and meanings, and that was something that as a black woman who is really a stand for black men and does feel, you know, is supportive of all black people and works with black people from all walks of life, genders, sexualities, and all of that. You know.
Well, say something about your own men. I'm still waiting to say something about your own men, except you're talking about pimps. This is what, when you talk about your hometown, you talk about that there's these men. You don't talk about there's men, professionals, men who might be doctors or I don't know. You know, this is a woman who is supposed to be on men's side, and you know, she don't present statistics. She don't present, you know, facts. You know, this is your time to contextualize this group.
My Afrocentricity definitely kicked in. Like the second time I saw that film, knowing that it was a trans person, because I felt like that was a really important piece of dialogue that I identified with, and I wonder what impact that could have had on black love and black heterosexual relationships had it come from
cisgender
Okay,
person.
Well, it might have been a stronger statement if it had come from a cis person, but at the same time, trans people are African people too.
Absolutely.
And one of our challenges is that so many of us are so judgmental in our silos that we're not willing or prepared to talk about Black people who have different sexual orientations, who are trans and not trans. I mean, this is where we have a total limitation in our ability to come together as African people.
Okay, stop.
Are you serious? I invite this person, I assume is one of those gender fluid, gender who knows what, to just go to Black Twitter for 5 minutes. You know, they're poking each other's eyes out. And she said that the faggots and the trannies are the biggest problem. And all of them watching, they go like, well, let's see what Newman had to say.
Stop there. We're gonna take a switch out break. So we switch seats a little bit, and we end up with an interior.
I'm an interior designer,
An interior
architect,
and
a social architect.
And a social
Well,
architect.
I learned. Phrase was coined.
And
70s.
3 is
I don't know, is she an architect or she's not an architect? Because that's a big ass job. I mean, I know architects that, I don't know.
esteemed PhDs. So I need the 4 of you and the 2 of you behind me now to help me with something. When I was explaining to a colleague how I felt when I left the movie, I paused and tried to gather my feelings, gather my thoughts. What I felt most when I walked out of the theater in Georgetown, and I walked amongst, at that moment, what was 90% white folks, I felt a sense of rage. So my friend said, why? I said, once again, we the innocent get slaughtered and murdered by them the guilty. They the guilty don't get held accountable.
And we get slaughtered for their entertainment.
And I am, and I feel a certain rage about that. And so he paused and then said, and you know why you're really so pissed off? I said, well, you tell me. He said, because there's really nothing you can do about it. Can y'all respond to that?
Well, what bothered me about that situation is that, again, Black people become heroes and they become immortalized and dead.
And I'm just gonna say before I forget, I'm sorry, because I'm like, maybe Black men cannot do something about it because, you know, Hollywood is very vicious, but united with your women, you could do something about it. You can have a say. I mean, like I say, you have like 10,000 nonprofits. None of them can sign a letter, a coalition, and say like, you know, this shit is like, we demand reparations for this fucking movie.
And then they become, you can't do much dead. And then they become martyrs, or there's statues and stuff made about them. Instead of creating a context that prevents the murder and the killing of Black people so they won't become dead. And we almost glorify in the film, in my opinion, did it, is by default, glorify that behavior among us where we are almost accepting, you're gonna die, you're gonna get killed. So let's take care of your image and your importance after you die and put up a what do you call them things? That's just powerless and impotent to me.
I think
but you talked about having rage and nothing you can do about it. I don't think that's true. I think there's a lot that we can do.
Oh yeah.
But these demoralizing films that create the same thing that happened to Malcolm, the same thing that happened to MLK, where they became ghosts, and which ghosts have no power. it creates a container for powerlessness that becomes normalized among us. Therefore, we don't do nothing but have rage and feel like there's nothing we can do. Because that's not true. There's a lot that we can do.
They're iconic ghosts, which means that we lift them up in distorted ways.
Right.
So then when people start writing or talking about, as an example, Martin Luther King's flaws, we have so dehumanized him that we think he's supposed to walk on water.
We can't accept
he
it.
was a man.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that bothered me most at the end, so they had the policeman's body cam, which means they saw the whole thing. In other words, they saw him attack.
Yeah.
They saw the brother shoot in self-defense. But what we saw on the screen was just they shot. They didn't see the whole context.
Well, that was real.
We never had the concept of the whole context. So it was easy to demonize them and to set up this juxtaposition of the bad guys and the good guys. And I left the film, I saw it on A&V, so right by Howard, Atlantic Plumbing. The crowd was mixed. My attitude was major. When the white girl who was sitting in the middle of the aisle tried to walk past me and ran into me, I put my foot out. I could.
Well, that redeemed this person. You know, that redeemed that person. I enjoyed that moment a lot. And this is not that difficult. And, you know, it really enraged me when I'm in the subway and you see even like young black men get up and give them the seat. Get up like, you know, like, I mean, so that was, you know, I mean, it's not that difficult. You know, all you gotta do is say, oops, oops.
The crowd was mixed. My attitude was major. When the white girl who was sitting in the middle of the aisle tried to walk past me and ran into me, I put my foot out. I couldn't help it.
Dr. Melba.
You know, no, girlfriend didn't say, excuse me, she said, no, like, my girlfriend. But in any case, you know, I was angry for so many reasons. And one of the reasons that I was angry is because, again, of the notion that we can't do anything about this. And we saw people in the streets protesting, and so many of our protests are futile. We saw them call the names of Ray said Cleveland. Isn't that where Jameer Rice was?
Yes,
Right there. Yeah. We've seen so much of this. So somehow, although this was fantasy, replete with lazy thinking, what I'd like to see is a Rocky type film, where black folks basically take their, excuse my language, shit back.
Django Unchained. Django Unchained did that, right?
Well,
They
didn't like that.
Wait. I got, you said you're making the Django. Let me say this real quick.
All right, but Django,
no, it wasn't. Let's give our perspective. Let me make it clear.
Black people should not escape.
Okay, since you brought up Django, because I'm glad you did. Sugar somebody. What was his name? Sugar? Sugarland was the man who was the murderer and disfigured, who had black men being eaten by dogs.
The DiCaprio?
Right. But he was not killed by the Django. He was killed by the German. That's the white boy making the narrative. And then the brother who Django killed Sam Jackson. Let me finish. I don't mean to provoke y'all, but I tend to do that. It's not on purpose. But this stuff makes a difference in our mind. It affects how we think in our children. And if the movie was made in a way that was affirming of black people, Django would have killed Caprio. And Samuel would have had a transformation, as opposed to just being fodder to be murdered by the Django. And when the Django killed Sugar's was his sister, whatever it was. It became slapstick.
Bloom.
But it became slapstick. Remember she fell back? That was so we would not take it seriously that he was killing a white woman. So you gotta understand how the mind works. And I'm gonna close with this. There was only one person that the Django showed, other than his wife, showed demonstrative love to in that film, though it was lots of black men who were being slaughtered in that film. Guess who that was? The German. Because at the time, he literally blew a kiss to the German. Now y'all go rewatch it.
No.
And y'all see the mind.
I want to get back to
Right.
the Slim.
Right.
But Queen and Slim did the same thing. It did the same thing, but people those white saviors in the middle of the film.
But it seems like we're criticizing Queen and Slim for being a fantasy. I wonder if the opposite of Queen and Slim is Tyler Perry. Because we, no, I'm gonna say,
Are you saying Queen on purpose?
No, but
I didn't expect you to go there, Doctor.
I think Queen and Slim is doing what it was supposed to do, us having this conversation. I've talked about this film more than any film, and I hear black folk. I was getting my hair redone in the shop the other day, and the sisters just Queen and Slim, Queen and Slim. Right. We don't talk about Tyler Perry, and then when we do have a fantasy, I heard a lot of criticisms about Django when it came out. A lot of people say, oh, it's fantasy. Black folk couldn't go through the West like this. I heard criticism of 12 Years a Slave, and that film was taken almost directly from the book. I mean, I'm talking about verbatim. And I said, so we can, but we don't hear criticism of Tyler Perry because I think nobody dies, we feel good at the end.
And we act like a bunch of
Kimon
jackass.
and
let the brother talk.
I mean, first and foremost, man, more black people talk about Queen and Slim than talk about impeachment hearings. Okay,
Not in my world, bro.
That says something. And to the charge that this is trauma porn, I can see how that could be.
Was that your term, trauma porn?
No,
It was black tragedy porn.
Black.
Okay. But see, the thing is but the thing is, I watch porn. Okay. But that's supposed to see. If I can't find a woman, I might please myself watching that.
But that's a different context.
I'm just saying.
This is after dark. This is rock after
This is
dark.
way after
Can
dark.
we be our whole selves? Martin Luther King had some chicks on the side. He liked a few hoes. He's about to get killed.
my
You know what I'm
goodness.
saying? He smoked cigarettes and had a little drink too much. Malcolm was knee deep in some hoes and all kinds of stuff. Can we tell the whole story? Is what I'm saying. Because when the guy got hit by a truck and was saying all those negative things. Okay.
Well, I see that he was like, he felt it. He felt it. It's like, well, I'm not like 15, years old. So it's like, he had to go in and like say, he kind of had to go like, oh, you haven't realized I'm a man. It's kind of like, for us, if a bitch say like, oh, I got to go to the salon and do my nails and whatever. It's just like, a lot of the fucking dykes, they go like, your man got you whipped or whatever, some shit like that. So he felt it. He felt it, and he said it again. He come out again. I watch porn. He said, I watch porn, damn it. I watch porn. It's like, it's just like, that wouldn't be like the thing I would have picked if I was a dude. But he felt like he wanted to talk about that. And everybody, you saw how this nervous laughter just came out. It's just like, oh my God, a man, damn, is behaving like a man. My God, what should I do? What should we do now?
Those people exist.
And people
They
left
are
that
part-
in the movie theater, and that was a problem.
Okay, well that's on them, but they have to tell the whole story. And I think sometimes when we see ourselves reflected like that, we say, oh, well the brother shouldn't do that, or the brother that does do that said, damn, I sound like
But
that.
just like
It's
like you take an N word out of your vocabulary, you need to take the B word out of your vocabulary too. You need to take the whole word out of your vocabulary too. No, seriously.
But all the people need to be represented.
But this is the thing.
And we need to respect men too. Equality is only equality. It seemed like she want to go. She just won all their balls in a platter. That's just not gonna be happy until she see all their balls in a platter.
sexually promiscuous when I call her a hoe.
I mean,
you call somebody trifling without calling her a bitch.
I have no
That is
problem with
true.
the whole story being told.
But here's the lesson.
the context is missing
But
from the
we're
whole
missing
story.
the lesson. You said there was no lesson that it was demoralizing. I think that the biggest lesson is when that brother is sitting there counting his money. That everybody hated him for that. And everyone walked away saying that money looked so cheap. And then now we're not the materialistic, we'll do anything for money people, because we said, oh, I would have, no one I know would have done the brother.
In Baltimore, I heard people
So
say
we're
figures.
missing that lesson.
I heard people say figures.
Well, that just shows you
Hey, I want to put everybody on the spot.
the non-monolithic
And you know what?
perspective of black people. We try to
don't-
just be one
If
way
you
all the
don't
Come on, keep talking about it. This is real. This is real society. We hate to see black men with money.
feel comfortable answering this question, I understand. The question is this. We were sitting there holding our breath when Queen of Slim got stopped. And once we saw his face and heard him talk and felt his swagger, we were scared that something serious and tragic was going to happen. Something serious and tragic did happen. The white police officer got killed.
He started.
I'm going to start here. I'm going to start with you, Hillary. How did you feel when he seen him get murdered? Seen him get killed, not murdered. Seen him get killed.
So the truth about that moment is that for me, I've lived that. I've actually lived that. I've been in the car with a 2-month-old infant, my law school husband, and myself. My husband from a different walk of life than I am. And where I got out of the car and I said, why would we stop? We were in a Volkswagen Beetle
So this
with
was
no
real
tent
for you.
and a small baby in the back seat. And they said, well, people have been robbing houses in this neighborhood. We were looking for a place to stay. And I'm like, so we've been robbing houses in a Beetle with a 2-month-old baby? Like, I literally saw myself in that film. So when that cop got shot, based on the trajectory and the history and where we are right now in this moment, I celebrated.
Okay.
I was happy
That's
his
your
ass
answer.
got
That's
shot.
Ray.
I did too. The first person I thought about was how they saved each other's life. Queen helped Slim in that situation, and Slim helped Queen in that situation. I also thought about Sandra Bland, and when she was shot in the leg, and how they were trying to protect each other. And see, I felt like you did. I was glad when the cop got killed. And frankly, and I know this goes ahead, but I didn't have any problem with that black cop being killed by that young black brother either. And the reason why is because that cop was dressed up like a cop in riot gear. And we don't know what he would have done once he got that. And I think that she again did that in the film for us to discuss it and talk about good cops or bad cops.
And the lack of self-awareness with children, though. That was what I got out of that.
I'll talk about both the cops, and I'll try to be brief. I have been in that position too. I have been the black man who was harassed, acted on the ground, and all that kind of stuff too. And also, they were very good actors. It was one of the best things in the film in terms of the delivery of the whole thing, in terms of the actors. And of course, the white cop was not to be liked. He was racist and crazy and abusive. And when he got killed, I had no issue with that. I was quite pleased with that. But I did not know that it was going to, I did not know it was going to morph into everything else it morphed into. I'm going to talk about that brother who got shot in the face. What's different from you is that the brother who got shot in the face was being caring to that young boy. We don't know that.
He appears to be.
I'm telling you from my perspective. From my perspective, he was caring about him. He was engaging him. He was talking to him. He wasn't treating him like the white cop treated the people in the city. He was being like, what are you doing out here? You know, you're right, what's going on? And then he shot him in the face. That's not a good message for people who are going in there, quote, being lazy in terms of your terminology, watching these films without a critical analysis.
I think that was a lesson is that, innocent people get hurt because there's a blue wall of silence. But, he knows of bad cops. He was lifting his shield to show I'm not that. So he lifted his shield up, humanize himself, to try to separate himself from everyone else. Every good cop knows a bad cop, but most of the time they don't say nothing. And because of that silence,
they are seen and can suffer the same thing. And I think that good cops need to stand up and help eradicate that. You know, there's a 2006, I gotta say this, there's a 2006 FBI report, not the Biography report, not the Newman report. FBI says that law enforcement has been infiltrated by white supremacists.
Yeah,
And they're called ghost dogs. And nothing's been done about it. Not two black attorney generals, not a black president has ever even said anything about it. Mum's the word. And that's a 2006. And this is what we're dealing with. And I'd like to see this film is addressed.
Here's what I'm going to ask Jay. As someone critical...
Rock, I gotta jump in here.
Huh?
I gotta jump in here.
Okay.
Jay first, though.
Okay.
But I do have to jump in
As someone critical of the movie,
Yes, sir.
you got two beautiful people in the front seat of a car. In a steaming love scene. And it's flashing to the kid shooting the cop in the face.
I hated that.
You know, thoughts went through my head, agony, ecstasy, our great love for each other and the horrific tragedies that we've experienced. What was your feeling when that was going on? And what is your thought after the fact, when you had a chance to examine it? Talk to me about that scene and how it made you feel.
That scene to me was a manifestation of dysfunction on the part of the filmmakers, screenwriters. And
their dysfunction.
Their dysfunction, and I also think it shows Black dysfunction, which also contributed to a disempowered narrative that perpetuates anti-Black racism.
But how did dysfunction?
So let me get into it. The Queen and Slim making love, beautiful thing. If I was on the run and I didn't know if I was gonna get caught, I'd have probably done the same thing. The placing of it with the protest with this young man who wanted to martyr himself. He wanted to make a statement to say that he wanted to live forever. And to his young impressionable mind, he wanted to go out and kill a cop or do something so people would remember him. At the same time, like the Black cop who was trying to actually help him, going back, that was a very, very dangerous scene to have a young person, a young Black boy, shoot a Black police officer or a police officer because he wanted to make a statement. Because now the narrative, it feeds into a white supremacist narrative that we're living out in our everyday lives, is that when we protest, when we rise up.
Wait a minute, they shot a cop on film and you can see it? Well, I think they say it was a Black cop, so... Yeah, I was gonna say, like, whoa, they actually shot a cracker on film?
When we push back against the system of racism and white supremacy, we are Black identity extremists, and this gives teachers and everyone else more subconscious ammunition to criminalize our children in schools.
He wasn't educated at home. His daddy was the catalyst.
My turn. My turn.
I'm sorry.
I hate to be loud, but that's how I roll. Okay, a couple of things. First of all, I do think the scene of the young boy shooting a policeman was dangerous for any number of reasons. I would not want to have a Black child sitting next to me.
I'm sorry, I gotta stop this shit. I'm like, I have to speak up, as women. I guess we all want equality, but, according to ourselves, I don't want to grow a mustache. I don't want to, all that shit. I mean, like, why would I? So right there, obviously it's impossible to have equality. Because for us to be equal, we will have to grow mustaches, they will have to grow tits. And, okay, I gotta stop because I'm getting nauseous, I'm sorry. No, we ain't growing shit. I swear, ew. So no. This is unacceptable. We are not gonna cut him off unless we are willing to suffer the consequences just like everybody else, because that is equality. It's equal opportunities and equal punishment. That's it. In order for it to be equality, it gotta be equal across the board. It gotta be equal, for the smallest and the tallest, the youngest and the oldest, everybody. I'm not co-signing this shit. I'm not keeping quiet. I have never been keeping quiet. So I just don't lie. I mean, I consider the Honorable Malcolm X to be my teacher and to be my model, to be, somebody who, just because it's more recently and it helped me visualize more, because there's a little bit more material, there's audio, there's video, so it makes it more like, real, for me, I guess, because I'm more like visual when it comes to I don't know, I guess learning and everything else. So anyway, so I just gotta say, I mean, if it's gonna happen, it got to be addressed. Okay, so you know what just happened? You both women cut us off and left us mute the men. That's what men gotta be saying. Or these two women, they should say like, we are cutting off because we are this and that, because that's not part of the rules of any game. Otherwise, it's not a game.
That going down. But when you ask how one felt about the initial scene where Slim ended up shooting the police officer, I have to take you for a minute back down memory lane. Okay. Because I want to talk about how black people have been traumatized by white supremacy. 1986, I took my mama to Biloxi, Mississippi. She went to some school. The nuns were charged with taking care of the Negroes and the Indians. So she went to the school for the Negroes and the Indians back in the day. And this was 86. We stopped in New Orleans. Of course, I'm crazy, and my mama was saying, Juliana, you can't speed. Juliana, you can't do this. We driving. I get stopped. I am deliberately at the speed limit. Not above, not below. Got stopped. So, of course, I asked her, what you stopping me for? Mm-hmm. And he told me he liked my tone. I said, whatever. I need to know what you stopped me for. My mother starts crying. Mm-hmm. And she said, Juliana, be nice to the police. But I'm like, F the police. Mm-hmm. She cried even more. Mm-hmm. I'm like, Mama, I done have enough of you on this trip. Mm-hmm. Just let me do what I'm doing.
She might not have read the Willie Lynch letter, but she's feeling the Willie Lynch letter.
Well, she is a product of Mississippi. Mm-hmm. And she has always thought I was had a head trick and temper. Mm-hmm. She like, just calm it down, calm it. My mother sobbed to the point that the policeman told me, I'm not going to give you a ticket because your mother is crying. And she cried from basically New Orleans to Biloxi. They just kept sobbing. Yeah. You're going to get killed. This is really how assimilation has basically, and my mom is, she's politically active. Yeah. She taught me how to be me. Yeah. More or less. But
nevertheless, seriously traumatized.
Seriously, and my heart was totally broken. Because I just saw her doing that. I'm like, Bobby, you don't have to play Mr. Bojangles. Because that's what I saw her doing, is playing Mr. Bojangles. Mm-hmm. And we've had so many of our people who felt like they could not be themselves because they have been cowed, brutalized by white supremacy, by the notion of being afraid. And the fear goes back to lynching and the extent to which we have not been able to be ourselves as a people, not be able to produce economically. The first lynching that Ida B. Wells documented was a lynching where 2 black men, 3 black men, Tommy Moss and some others, decided to start a store. And and a white man who was basically angry that they competed with him economically decided that he would go shoot up their store, and the three brothers were lynched. Tulsa, we keep going. So basically, the accommodationist that so many of us have internalized is a function of history. And so when I saw that scene, I almost got up and was doing like this in the movie, like, yeah, y'all, you know, hey, about time. And I realized that that's not productive.
But it felt good.
It felt damn good. Right, we want to be entertained, but then we don't. No, what I need to say about this is that we have to put this film in context, unpack what's productive about it and what is not productive. And that's where we get the lazy thinking, it's where we get the shorthand, and it's where, you know, I mean, everyone here has an opinion about the film, but what I think we have to do is take it, you know, some like it, some don't like it, but the fact is that there are learning moments in there, and there's some things in there that are utterly destructive. Yeah.
Dr. Malvo, but it's not just...
Yeah, but it's just like they said it, you know, people, they go there to relax, you know, go to the movies because they want to like reset the tape, and so it is very unfair because people, they're not even, if it was in a university setting, if it was in another, like that, people, they go like, oh, okay, but they just said it themselves. People disconnect when they go to the movie theater. So this is what I'm saying. This is the reason why you should be, I'm not going to say, of course, you know, and I cannot say it, you know, because of the censorship, whatever. I cannot say, you know, up in arms, but I can say, you know, concerned, very concerned about it. And to the point as to say, you know, we want to meet up with you. We want to talk about it. We want to, you know, air it. I don't know if in television, whatever, in YouTube. And we're going to come to an agreement, you know, as many sessions as they're needed, because, you know, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable because it's not labeled. If you label before the movie or the show, whatever, and say, you know, this is what is going on, somebody's fantasy, whatever, you know, beware, because, you know, people sometimes think that it's real, what they're watching here. And, you know, and we realize the power of the visuals. It's got to be a disclaimer. So we realize, you know, watch out for these symptoms. If you got those symptoms, you know, just, you can call us, you can talk or whatever, talk to your friends about these thoughts and see the validity.
I mean, I was borrowing the term lazy to make a quick point, but it's not just lazy thinking. Being black is a traumatic experience. It's an unresolved perpetual trauma. Some of us get to shop and have a good job and do some stuff and get our hair done and like drive a car, but all that is happening in the context of intergenerational, unresolved, normalized trauma. Ironically, when black people go to see a film, including this film, they didn't go there to do no work. They didn't go there to quote, not be lazy. They went there to escape. And one of the things that hurts the black psyche, which is what I said much earlier about the fact that there's so much negativity in media, is that our parents, because they're traumatized in the paralysis, ambitious assimilative paralysis in terms of being constructive to help their child be able to decode and navigate through society about hating themselves, which is what happens if you have no critical analysis. The irony here is that it's not really lazy, it's really the irony of going to a film to escape hard work. Because I want to have a good time. I'm eating popcorn. I'm chilling. And while they're eating popcorn and chilling, they're watching pathology. And they're watching a child be abusive to his son, calling his mama a hoe, calling black women hoes, and all this negative stuff. And there's no lesson. I'm talking about a lesson that you don't have to go digging for. Now you can if you dig and look, you'll find a lesson.
Yeah,
I'm talking about in your face contextual there. Like there was a hit. I'm almost finished. There was a hidden lesson in the fact that Uncle Earl was acting the way he was because of PTSD. That's him just being just a no good pimp and just an abusive person was not just left alone like it sometimes is in films. So they said he went to war, blah 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 blah.
He wasn't always like this.
So that was one of the rare potentially contextualizing lessons in the room in terms of why we do what we do. But there weren't that many lessons to me. Like why were there some white saviors who had them under the bed?
I like Ray.
People that had them hidden under the bed. Where were you at?
His wife, in fact, he owned
The
him.
wife actually articulated.
Right, she was a token hater, so the white savior
That
wouldn't
was
be
one of
so
the ones that I
blatant.
thought was turned them in, actually.
That's what I thought that the white.
But a black man did it in the context of the same story and have them in it. See, this is not just one scene. This is a whole film. But that's what I want you to understand. I mean, this is not just one film. This is the same film where Uncle Earl was beating on folks. This is the same film where all this other stuff was going on that was negative, and then they hit him under the white people hit him under the bed to save them, which is a white savior metaphor.
Uncle Earl.
And under the bed reminded me.
But it was the white people who gave him a favor. It's still a white savior. It's an unconscious.
Under the bed reminded me of the way that black people escaped enslavement.
It was the Earl that they wanted to get on the airplane with the Earl too. And they died.
Okay, time out.
And they were
Ray,
murdered.
I want to get Ray's comment on
what?
On
White savior.
Uh-huh.
Well, see, I thought the white wife was complicit, you know, and I think the writer left it kind of ambiguous about whether or not she had conspired with the dude that actually got the money at the end. Because remember at the table she said something like $250,000. He said for each of you, and I think so. You had speculation.
But how she don't know them?
She made a statement about the young boy shooting the police, shooting the policeman in the face.
Okay, y'all.
She made a statement about
Uncle
that.
Earl is an airplane.
I want to put this on the table. It's I've heard a lot of talk that Slim was emasculated.
Yes.
But he was.
Let me finish. Slim was emasculated, and I mean that's a strong thing. I'm going to tell you something. I thought that Slim got his man and left that movie not emasculated. That was what I thought.
I never thought he was ever emasculated. I think it was a bad date.
It was the balance.
But it wasn't a bad date either.
Well, Sergeant Allen's a bad date. They had very little in common. They were not equally yoked.
They was not going to have a second date.
They were not going to have their second date. And then, they were forced together. And I think they both gave each other pushback.
That's right.
So I don't think that there was any emasculation.
That's right.
But another point, James was talking, we're talking about the violence.
Which is really interesting because us as women, if any man actually, even if they just want a clarifying question about the way that we feel that we was attacked, verbally or whatever, and us as women, we go like, how dare you, the victim, have to define what's toxic and what's not toxic. And now men are crying foul and we say, no, I define what's toxic.
And the sex, juxtaposed. And all I could think about was Frankie Beverly, Joy and Pain. It's just how, and the joy piece is that black folks find joy wherever we are, no matter how oppressive the circumstances. We found joy in enslavement, even though it was an oppressive situation. I just think that is a hopeful message, although
Do I actually need to say anything? I mean, And it's just like, it's easier to say who's not sold out, who have not sold out yet. This is insane. I mean, like, it's insane, and like, and none of them have been addressed, contested. You know, gotta find a strain somehow to, in my opinion. I'm gonna shut up.
I really hated the notion of sex being juxtaposed with violence.
So when I say
Jay.
juxtaposing the sex and the violence, the sex happening, right? We're watching people have sex on screen. The violence of the young black male being violent, that is white supremacist pornography, racist pornography. They fetishize and love to see other black people dying. Okay, so as a creative person, I'm finishing my point. Dying on screen, loving to see the image of violent black men. So that feeds their narrative to say that, like, oh, they're uncivilized, they're savage, like we are, more superior to them, and it feeds into this whole complex that they have. So I wanted to leave that there. We're also talking about your other point. Where were we? The question on the table was
Emasculation.
the emasculation, absolutely. Listen, Queen came on the date because she had a bad day at work. The state decided to prosecute her client. She had an attitude, execute her client, right? So she had a bad day. Didn't seem like she was close to her family or anything like that. He was very, very a different character, right? Very religious, a Christian, a family man. It was just kind of like a simple, average Joe. And he was very, very naive in terms of what we're living in, which is a system of, we're in a state of warfare, right? In America, under a system of racism and white supremacy, okay? And so he was not prepared. He was not prepared because he thought that his survival strategy was to go along to get along, and that's how he was getting. And he loved the Lord. Let's not leave that out. He learned a lot more as he went through the film, and he enjoyed a lot of disrespect and this hyper-aggressive stereotypical image of the defensive black woman, right? So I can't talk about him being emasculated without bringing that. And he was very, very gentle with her.
At the beginning, even at the dinner.
Y'all are tripping about this whole juxtaposition thing, and the only reason I had to step in and say y'all are tripping is because you're not adding the creative layer.
You cannot tell people that they're tripping unless you tripping.
I am tripping. I'm totally tripping.
Because you cannot judge our opinions.
It's no judgment.
Stuff about
no judgment. It was just a way for me to jump in and like get you guys' attention.
Okay.
But they just did it. The same thing.
You're mine.
No, don't do me like that. So the thing about the sex scene juxtaposed to the violence is that in a movie, they're trying to keep you at a level of focus, right? So for me, this is the way I saw it. And I'm just bringing in a more artistic perspective because I'm humbled to be sitting amongst all of these doctors. I feel blessed.
I'm scared now.
So you tell us we tripping?
No.
Dr. Tripping.
Dr. Auntie, please don't do me like this. I love you so much. No. I feel like because the film had already hit to a certain extent a climax, if they had just shown us them having sex, it would have. We talk about people coming in to watch lazy. If they were just having sex, we would have lost everybody in the movie because they would have been engulfed and immersed in that component of it. Because
we wouldn't.
The expectation of people,
take it for granted.
it was sex. It was carnal. They were actually the FUCKING word. That was like some of the most intense sex in a black movie that I've ever seen. So if they didn't show the other dynamic, I feel like it would have plateaued and everybody in the movie would have been lost. The focus would have been lost. Not us.
Black people don't see enough love stories between us to get lost. We would have been staring because we don't see it.
People are shallow.
The reality is that when we talked about Ashada Shakur during this discussion, Ashada Shakur, her child was conceived in a holding cell while they was fighting for their lives. in a freaking prison. They got it on. They said, look, baby, this is our only
Let's
chance.
fuck it
And
out.
most people see this film ain't gonna
Let
know
me get
that.
some of this energy out.
That came to my mind.
You
when I
know
saw
that, but most people don't
You know,
know.
and when she said joy and pain,
Well, I
that's
think
what
it's
this
again, it's
was.
a joy and pain thing. I think that we find, you know, it's like wherever we are as Black people, we find some occasions of joy.
But this was not
They
a
may
love
be
story,
flawed,
y'all.
no.
This was
Again. I mean, even if I'm trying to be optimistic and say that they and their and theirs didn't do it, you know, as a vicious attack, you know. I mean, it's still very bad. Still. I mean, it's just find joy in everything. Like I say, even if it's in good intentions, it's still bad. There's no reason to generalize completely, in my opinion.
Love Jones was a love story.
Without the happy ending.
This was Love Jones with all kinds of trauma pathology. But this was not a love story. This
Not
was
a love story.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I see the
I thought it was love among pathology.
I thought it was love.
Not a beautiful love story, but it was
This
a
was
love
a survival story that ended when they didn't survive. This was a survival
But ain't
story.
that happening to us in real life?
This movie's fiction. You know, this movie's
Yes,
fiction.
we all agree on that.
And I'm gonna say again that when people come watch these films, though it's fiction, they get emotionally involved. And what the film laid out for us to get emotionally involved in was problematic. It was full of pathology and anti-blackness. I saw the beautiful cinematography. The soundtrack was the bomb, as the folks say. I love the soundtrack, Roy Ayers, etc. The blues, all of it was wonderful. But it was, and even the Jerry Curl, the fat Luther Vandross, Jerry Curl. I mean, I had never heard that in a music before, so I was like, no, they didn't talk about Luther. Big Luther.
That was hilarious.
But that was but it's a black ass movie, but it's a black ass movie that is not consistent in terms of one theme. It's all over the place, but we get caught up in it because there's things that I think a lot of us kind of already said that we relate to. There's moments of it that fits our own life script, but as a whole piece, I'm telling you, it's problematic.
Look,
for the black
there was a moment I want to share this that I'm looking at this extraordinarily Nubian queen.
Beautiful.
Lying on the tarmac. Blood everywhere. Lying there for a good period of time.
Like Michael Brown.
Michael Brown is exactly what I thought about, and it was piercing pain.
Art reflects the
It was
time.
piercing
Let me ask
pain.
everybody a question though, because everybody has their position. Would you have rather had this movie or not had this movie?
I'd rather have this movie. Me too.
I needed the movie.
This is the best film of the year.
To me too. If I had a
Cleo?
No, I would rather not have the movie. I think the movie should have called Queen, Slim, and Trauma. They forgot the third character.
I hope these sisters work together continuously.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just I mean, I'm gonna say it again. You know, I mean, we're gonna define what it is and what it is not toxic for African American men. Why can't they actually define what it is toxic or what it is not toxic for themselves? So, I mean, I'm not crazy. I know that much because this make perfect sense. And like I said, if it's not, then change the narrative.
This is they off to a great
I think they will continue to work together because I listen to some.
They will. They
I guess
combination.
they're going to continue to work together. I like the fact that this movie is having deep conversations because we have to investigate and interrogate
This was rock.
where we are right now within our lives and how these nuances are affecting us. right? Given the climate that we live in, which I have to keep going back to the fact that we are at war, we're living under a system of racism and white supremacy. We cannot ignore that. I like the film because we can use what Dr. Nellie Fuller has written about, and about how white supremacy.
If you don't understand white supremacy, you don't
all of these
understand
different
nothing.
aspects within our lives, within society, and how it controls that. And so I appreciate the film for that reason. I know that there needs to be some sort of study guides or programming, hopefully, especially for our youth as they go through, because I'm an educator, as they go through and analyze and have these sorts of dialogue. Because I would hate to have them think that some of the things that they saw in the film was actually appropriate or things that you should kind of be doing. Example, case in point, shout out to Brother Rizza Islam from the Nation of Islam. He made a great point that, Slim did not smoke and he did not drink. Period. He didn't. But, on the run last days or whatever, he changed his mind in both of those times. We need to make sure that we are constantly on an alert. And that was the manifestation of mental weakness on the part of Slim's character, in my opinion.
Or freedom.
In my freedom to me.
I think that Slim was a kind, gentle
Let me
guy.
finish this point.
Yeah.
Because he was in a life or death situation, and in a situation like that, if any brother's gonna stand next to me, he needs to be on his P's and Q's and all.
So what did he do wrong? He shot the cop.
If he's in the last few minutes, if he's in the last few minutes of his life and he wants to have a little henny, I mean, I really don't have a problem.
Well, he didn't know it was the last few minutes. He thought he was going to kill him.
So
Freedom
we got-
only
he
goes
thought it was
one
legal
way
to-
we
to
have
everybody. This is like
we have a clock.
Wait. Somebody said, I don't know who said it, that he was gentle and kind. Is that how you really want to define your man? I mean, who made, I was going to say, who made up that script? And we don't need to even ask that question because everybody know the answer already. We just got to say it, these crackers are being very strategic. They know that you are not falling for the same propaganda. So, and they don't have time no more. So they gotta go straight to your subconscious. This is what kind of emergency this is. It's such an emergency that they resorted to psychologically subconscious levels of, propaganda.
Yeah, that is our master. I want to say this. Master Clock. Use a band, Master. So during the course of the film, and the moments I had to think afterwards, I just had the biggest crush on Queen. Oh my God! I just thought she was.
In real life, she only did well.
Hold on. I'm making a point here. Man, let me make.
I hope she wasn't looking like those pictures.
This point. So my wife and I talked about it. My wife and I talked about it. That I had a crush on Queen. She said, "I'm giving you a pass.
No.
I love me some Slim." Okay.
Slim was too goofy for me.
Okay. I never heard of her. I'd never heard of the actress. And I Googled her name. And you do it right now. 40 of the 42 pictures that you'll see is with
The white dude.
And either, I don't know if it's a boyfriend, a husband, or whatever.
Fiance.
And
that's part
I
of
had
White dude.
white dude.
And Rock,
And I'm gonna share my feelings
She's
without
British.
putting y'all out.
Well, see,
Without putting y'all out there first.
that's an issue.
With a
I
white
was just
guy?
like,
Of course.
To be truthful,
Is that what they say?
I was really
See, Rock,
disappointed.
that's part of that's part of whether it's intentional or not. That's part of the white accommodationist casting, because they.
Well, this is the gentleman who say it don't matter if it's trans or not trans. So I mean, like, and then I see that there's like the slippery slope, and now not now, but they're saying that there's no difference between dark skin and light skin, and where is it gonna end? That's my question. Where's it gonna end?
They bring in black people who.
How's the white accommodating?
I'm getting ready to. I'm getting ready to talk.
I think I agree with you.
I'm getting ready to say it, brother. So hold on for a second. You're gonna get. There's all kinds of black people on planet Earth. There's Viola Davis. There's all kinds of people who actually are not acting like they love somebody black. They actually do love somebody black as part of their life.
Right.
And they get, and also there's African Americans who have a visceral relationship and a real life relationship to the phenomena that's in that film. Both of those people are from Britain who are in that film. And black people, even when we don't articulate what's affecting us, like you just got finished articulating, and you just said, I'm admitting because you realize it's not something that people normally talk about as part of the casual conversation.
Sure.
That when black people see the rare event of a black movie, because it's still a rare event, even though it's 2019, we run to it because it's so rare. And we find out, oh man, this beautiful sister is running around with Biff. And
Julianne called Brad.
And this beautiful brother's running around with this kind of Becky. So and that's relevant. Everything that's in the landscape that we're looking at and experiences is relevant to our worldview and how we react and how we're going to respond to the trauma that we're already in, whether we get relief from it or it's becoming further developed as part of how we experience life. It's not good from our perspective, from a behavioral science perspective, to have a sister starring in a film like this acting like she's loving a brother who in real life don't do it. That has a negative impact on the black side.
I'll roll with that.
It's just true.
I don't know. It's kind of lost me for a little while, you know. That is the intention. It was like, if you really. So then he just contradicted himself. He say it don't matter if it's transsexual or non-transsexual. You know, and then the others say it don't matter if it's gay or straight. And then it's like I say, where it's gonna end, all this. Blurring all the lines, and it's not true. I mean, like, I don't know if anybody ever thought about, you know, the beef between continental Africans and diasporic Africans. I mean, everybody thought it was because of the color of the skin. I mean, I'm just gonna be like really blunt and say, you know, I see that you are acting like if you don't know that you are extremely light. Some of you, they're even lighter than me. And if that's not have anything to do with continental Africa, you know, I apologize. But I just think like, I just want to throw it in the hat. If it's not, I'm sorry, I apologize. You know, just like, because it's just like, what a coincidence, you know, that, you know, but I don't want to keep talking about that. Let's listen up.
I'm not even trying to tell you to roll with nothing. I'm telling you what he just confessed, and it came from the context of a confession, like I said before, because we don't usually talk about it, but we're thinking it. Yeah. And I heard people say it and think it. And I heard some brothers say, "God, she's so beautiful, and she won't give me the time of day."
Well, I mean, that speaks to how people feel about Major League Baseball players, NFL,
exactly.
NBA, Sidney Poitier, all.
There was a young brother, I forget his name now, it was a young brother in Sacramento who was murdered by the cops.
Oh, yeah.
Who had written a Instagram post saying that black women give you black days and said all this anti-black female stuff. And there was sisters saying, well, he should have died, which was crazy because the cops didn't know about all of that. Yeah. They just knew there was a black man to kill.
But the point, I mean, he should not have died, and the whole thing was ugly. But the fact is that there are people who will pimp their blackness, expect black support, talking black and sleeping white, as Hakeem Booty said in a poem some years ago. I really don't care who you sleep with as long as you ain't sleeping with me.
But I'm
You
talking
can
about-
do whatever you do it.
I'm talking about the larger connotation of white accommodation. We do a lot of white.
But I think we struggle to accept that there's truth in all things, and I think the concept of us needing all of these ultra pure like moments in everything is radical in
I need a
itself.
lesson. I need a lesson, not purity.
Relevant from
Hey
the
guys, the
perspective
master,
of whether you're able
Master Clock, Master Clock said, Master Clock on the wall said that's all, y'all. So we're gonna wrap this up. I'm going to be calling on you all for other subject matters. Trust and believe I'm going to do that. Those of you who are watching, I hope that you appreciate and enjoy this show. Have all of your friends to subscribe to the Rock Newman YouTube channel. Thank to all of my guests. Thank you so much. And God bless you. All right.
This conversation.
That was fun.
Great. Oh man.
Black ass.
Hey.
I'm sorry, gosh. Please forgive me.
Yes, indeed.
Hey, this is my first time on the Rock Newman show.
My heroes are alive. They hit the table. Like, I don't know.
I'm honored.
Listen.
Wow.
I've been, behind the scenes, but on the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? If someone had asked me, I would have said, yeah, 2 or 3 times.
It's just come out.
What's the best place to line up? Is it here or on Amazon?
It was a little bit of the after show that I never seen. So I mean, I really don't know, to tell you the truth, what to think about that, I just say what I saw. This is the picture, I think I was talking about. But that's me. Everybody's different. Alright. I said if black men say they felt offended, I say we should listen to them. Otherwise, it's another case for Me Too. To have a, Me Too man, which will be horrible, because that means that those men are crippled, that they cannot even solve their own problems. I don't know, sometimes I wonder if you think clearly. I'm sorry. All right, have a good night. I don't want to continue making more enemies.